What's up, YouTube? This is Red Devilosa from Red Devilosa Reviews. Another DC fandom has come and gone, which means there's another trailer for The Batman, directed by Matt Reeves and stars Robert Pattinson as the character. Unlike last time, where I did a full breakdown of all of my thoughts on each panel in one video, I will not be able to do so this time due to college. But if I were to be honest, The Batman is pretty much the only DC movie that I'm interested in seeing in the future. I might talk about the other panels in a separate video if you are interested. Just like last time, I will have footage of gameplay from the Arkham games with screenshots and clips here and there to avoid those copyright issues. Right, so I was interested in this film from the jump, with the description of this Batman focusing more on the detective aspect of the character, which I think is a real neat way to separate him from the other versions of the character due to this side of Bruce Wayne barely gets touched upon. I was already satisfied with the first trailer, and that was made when the filming was only 25% complete. Just a reminder, this film is set within the second year of Batman's career, but Matt said there are still elements of the Year One comic present within the film. The best example of this is the fact that Batman is good with Gordon. They even show him lighting the bat signal in this one. It was a bit clear in the first one as well, with Batman being allowed to be a part of a crime scene. The Year One part comes from the fact that he's not good with all of the GCPD, where there's a shot of him gliding away from them. There's a few new things that were shown this time around. This trailer had a lot more action in this one, which makes sense on a marketing perspective, with the first one being more about the detective side of the character, and this one having more of the crime fighter. I do hope that the film will be able to tackle those aspects yet tell it in a cohesive manner that makes it more like Batman. What you notice in this trailer is that this Batman is real violent. Like, there's a level of working on getting that status as Batman down to a T. Something that I talked about in the last trailer was the similarities that this has with Arkham Origins Batman, who was working on balancing his rage but needing to learn how to overcome them. Robert talked about how much this Batman treats every fight like it's personal. Also, with how this Batman starts off with not knowing how to separate the Bruce Wayne and the Batman personalities from one another, and also working on how to fix it. Which sounds like it has a vibe of Batman Ego, which is the comic that Matt Reeves talked about as an inspiration for the film. One thing I wasn't the biggest fan of was when he punches the glass when he asks Riddler what he has done. I think it would have been more effective if he either stood up or if he was in the interrogation room with him, but then there will be the obvious connections to the Dark Knight. Another moment that is a bit more clear is the hallway encounter. Now, I think this is a cop out, but I'm going to wait on the context of the scene. I can buy a young Batman doing something dangerous to help him use the fear of the person to his advantage. It's also framed to help him as the hallway is dark, with the gunfire only being the source of light. Batman is also reacting to the bullets, so it's not just a Chad walk. Also, there was reports of the Batsuit being a prototype and that there was going to be an upgrade during the movie. I think there is a bit of validity to that, as there is a shot in the trailer where Batman ignites a flare, and you can see the bullet holes on the suit. I'm going to wait on the full context before I judge it in that way. To finish off the Batman section, there was a good number of shots of his eyes, and Robert does a real good job of selling me what his character is feeling without having to say anything. I know the white eyes for Batman is popular, but I can definitely understand why it's not used. Not to say that it's impossible to use them like they did in Deadpool. I'd be interested to see if they do get touched upon later down the line, or not. There's a lot more Selena Kyle, played by Zoe Kravitz. Matt described her as a version that's currently working on that persona as Catwoman. She has a few scenes of her interacting with Batman, showing that they're growing a bit of a relationship. There's other moments of Catwoman having different hairstyles. I think she looks great. Still curious on what the final Catwoman design will look like. So she definitely has a larger part in the film, where she's either working with Batman, or she's doing her own heist by using the different wigs for cover, or maybe a little bit of both. There is a shot where Batman is beating the fuck out of someone, and Selena looks shocked at the scene. I'm curious as to this being a scene if Bruce has a moment of introspection as he's gone too far. I'd also like to see if this changes up the dynamic between Selena and Batman after the positive moments they've had in other shots. The Riddler opens up the trailer with him being captured by the GCPD in a diner with a latte with a question mark as the art. At this point, he does not have the Zodiac Killer-like mask that he was seen wearing in the other trailer, but he does have it in other points in this one. Some questions can be brought up into asking if the Riddler wants to be captured for something that he's planning for later. possibly like the inspirations from Seven with John Doe that Matt Reeves talked about as an influence. Another interesting detail to point out is that they don't show his actual face of Paul Dano. Usually it's the mask that covers it up, or it's the shots from the back of the head, or when someone is talking to him. I think it's clear to keep the mystery of the person intact, which I think is an interesting choice, but a creative one. We also get a first look of Alfred in this trailer, played by Andy Serkis. I talked about how this was an interesting casting choice, but overall, still on board. There wasn't really much to go off on, but there is a dynamic of how Alfred wants Bruce to put this vigilante life off, otherwise, something bad might happen, where Bruce doesn't seem to care about his own personal safety. I know I keep mentioning it, but it's because I'm currently playing it at the moment. Arkham Origins gave a good insight for this conflict that Bruce and Alfred have on their ideologies of what should be done and what sort of precautions that needs to be taken in order to get there. And I'm interested to see how that gets explored in the film. And last but not least, we have the Penguin, played by Colin Farrell. Just from his opening line to Batman,
Whoa, take it easy, sweetheart.
it's great. The voice, the look, which still amazes me on how they worked on making Colin Farrell look nothing like Colin Farrell. That final shot of him getting excited after stopping Batman, only to have that oh shit moment as the Batmobile crashes into him, and there's the upside down shot of Batman walking from the flames towards him. It's a great way to end it. According to Colin, he said that he was only in about 5 to 6 scenes of the movie, which is a bit unfortunate, but it's still possible to do this in a manner that makes sense. For some of the things that I talked about in the last trailer breakdown, I love that Something in the Way is still used as a song choice, and I'm really excited for Michael Giacchino's score for this film. The theme really gives off the haunting yet heroic vibe that complements this Batman really well. I'm a big fan of the suit and its unique design. I think the cowl works better in certain lightings, but it looks amazing in the rain. Gordon did not have that much to do in this trailer compared to the first one. As I mentioned before, Gordon shines a light and is present in other scenes, but that's about it. We still haven't gotten a look at John Turturro as Carmine Falcone in either of the trailers, only the set photos that were shown earlier. There is a lot of characters that would need to be balanced in this one film, but judging by the length of it, there seems to be enough time to juggle them. I will say that even with the clips from the trailers and the behind the scenes, it's still not clear on what the overall story will be, which is good to help with the anticipation. I think I'll not watch any more trailers at this point, just to be safe and avoid the risk of potential spoilers. Those were my thoughts on the new Batman trailer. Let me know in the comments down below on what you thought about the trailer. Positives, negatives. What are you looking forward to in the film? Or what are you looking forward to in this franchise? If I were to pick something off the top of my head, it will probably be the inclusion of Robin. Thanks for watching. If you'd like more content about my opinions on the Batman or some ideas I have in casting the rogues and the supporting characters of the Batman and Gotham mythos, I have a playlist with just that in the description down below. I do plan to give another set of villains before tackling the Bat family that I'm aware that some of you are really anxious for. I promise I will have those videos out for you. Also, if you like reviews and opinions on movies, comics, TV shows, and video games, you can support my channel, Red Develosa Reviews, for more of that content. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Peace.